So I see a lot of faces that I see in the casino, which is nice, and we appreciate that because I want to talk a little bit about not only Eureka, but what's been going on in Mesquite and what's been going on really in Las Vegas and Southern Nevada, because I think both Mesquite and Las Vegas, it's gaming and hospitality that are the biggest industries, and it's really important that all of you kind of know what's going on, how we're doing, and what some of the bigger trends are, so that you can be just kind of smart voters, smart supporters of our industry, and really help us through this period. Because what's really going on in the country is that it's more and more competitive. You probably already know this, but there's more and more gaming in every state, every city. And if you ask casino owners pretty much anywhere, very few of them actually have same-store sales that are greater this year than the previous year. And that is during a time when the economy in general, they talk about having a recovery, but most of those companies, most of those individual casinos, they're not getting that much recovery. The stocks that have really taken off, like Wynn or Sands, it's because of investments that they've made in Macau, rather than what's going on here in the United States. If anything, when you see companies that actually might have an increase year over year, it's maybe because they built a casino in a state that didn't have gaming. And so overall they're up, but usually it takes quite a bit from their other casino that was just across the state. So overall, we are definitely still struggling. People ask me, how's it in Mesquite? And they say, we hear Las Vegas has really recovered. And I answer this way, it's a little bit like Mesquite. If the gaming industry is a big python, I think Mesquite is closer to the tail than to the front. And so you know what that means. And so, I'm just going to share a stat. I sit on the board of the LVCVA, and they put out data every month. And so through November, which was the last published report, gaming revenue from Mesquite was down about 4%, which is about $4 million in the aggregate. Okay? Hotel occupancy for Mesquite was down about 4% as well. So that's about 30,000 rooms. So 30,000 rooms through 10 months is about 100 rooms a day. So any of you who are in business here in town can say, okay, about 100 fewer rooms sold than last year. I don't know if it's 1.5, I'm looking at you, Missy, or 2 people per room. That is, that's maybe 60,000 people. So that might be 100 people, 150 people in town. And I guess that makes sense, because if you do the math, that might be about $88 a person. We can all see a visitor coming, and if you lose them, $88 a day, to me it feels about right. Okay, so the experience we've had is that we're part of the the hotel casino community. We have the smallest hotel, only about 200 rooms, and most of our really because we're kind of a niche. We haven't had that many we actually haven't had decreases in our occupancy, even though the town is down overall. So I think what it tells you is that Mesquite needs to compete a little bit better vis-a-vis other destinations. Okay? Easier said than done, because I think one of the biggest competitors Mesquite has is Las Vegas. I have friends up in Wendover, and they tell me their hotel occupancy is down a little bit, and again they point to Las Vegas. That Las Vegas is it's on sale right now. So that if you have a market like Mesquite, which is traditionally competed on price. Then when a big, I don't know what you call it, 1,000-pound gorilla, when they start competing on price, then Mesquite has a more difficult time. And so we're getting through that, but it's not easy. And that's actually one of the reasons why I feel so fortunate to be able to sit in this panel with Corey and Quincy, because I think getting back to growth for Mesquite, okay, it requires us to start bringing more and more out-of-town tourists to town. Because we've actually grown quite a bit over the years on kind of housing and new people moving to Mesquite. But I think, I'll let Quincy go into that next, that if that's a little bit slower in the next year or two, because it takes a longer time to get going, that we need to sort of, as a community, try to pick up the pieces and try to do more to distinguish Mesquite as a resort, to do things when we make investments as a community or individually, to think about what Mesquite is authentically, and try to be that, and try to advertise that, and try to build those amenities that help us compete better. An example you'll see is when you drive up Pioneer, on the corner of Pioneer and Oasis, you'll see what looks like these massive goalposts being erected. Any of you notice that?
Yeah.
Well, what we've done is we've staked a couple of local entrepreneurs who said, I think there's a market for outdoor recreation, okay? And they saw that last year when we did the Mesquite Off-Road Weekend. They saw people from out of town coming, and they said, I think we can actually make money not only that weekend, but I think we can make money during the season, this from now until May. So they're going to build zip lines, climbing wall, I think an area to ride ATVs and to do sort of off-roading, but in a more controlled way. And I think this is their way of doing something which they love. But for us, it's a way of trying to find partners who know parts of recreation and other activities that we don't, and trying to help them and them help us create more things and more activities here in Mesquite to get us all back on the road to growth.